intrigues and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Conversations about extrajudicial killings or the unruly conduct of people we have in our different security outfits come up, a lot of Nigerians can totally relate. As a matter of fact, it looks like at least 70% of Nigerians can relate to having witnessed, if not directly, indirectly, incidents of police brutality. Yesterday, what I witnessed was an indirect impact of the rascality of security officials, and in this case it was vigilante officials attached to an estate. And so according to what I gathered when I arrived at the scene, a young man had driven in a bike into the estate, and he had gone to his destination. And upon his return, the security officials called him and he drove to them. They searched him. Allegedly, they suspected the transportation of illicit substances, but they found nothing on him. And in their words, they said, and the boy said he had no money on him. And then a fracas ensued. They started beating him. They actually started beating him. And while they were beating him, they were brandishing guns. We would do this, we would do that. And then the boy, after the incident, called on some other people, and what we heard was bikes zooming into the estate, and it almost degenerated into full-blown chaos. But thankfully, some elderly people around the area were able to contain the situation. And every time when we witness things like this, when we witness the high-handedness of these vigilante men, the madness displayed by some police officials, you ask yourself, how exactly do we get together to fight the enemy when we are busy fighting each other? Efiru Delta State was not spared. Yesterday, videos made round of an incident that reportedly occurred on the 26th of this month. That was about 2 days ago, somewhere in Delta State. In the course of the conversation today, we're going to be having officials from the Delta State Police Command. As a matter of fact, hopefully we're going to be having the Delta State Police spokesperson join us to throw more light on what exactly happened in Efiru. And of course, yesterday, APC bigwigs picked up their forms for the 2027 elections, President Bola Tinubu inclusive. And the EFCC has shone the light on something that is of great concern, if you ask me. According to this report, it says 6 out of 10 university students are into cybercrime. Now, this is an alarming figure, I promise you. And if this is anything to go by, then we actually need to declare an emergency in this particular sector. All of these and more would make sense on today's edition of The Polity. Good morning to you and welcome. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Defender, good morning.
All right, so Am I sure that I don't have any injury this very morning? Okay, so I was asking whether I'm sure that I don't have any injury this very morning, because the kind of a football match I watched yesterday, it blew me away.
I know.
PSG versus Bayern Munich. Maybe I should say final before the final, but of course, it's not football today. But I must acknowledge the kind of football I watched yesterday. I've seen many people saying that it's a reminiscence of the kind of football they watched many years ago. The years of the Raúls and co, the Maradonas and what have you not. But that's a good football anyway. Good, good value for our money. Then talk about the developments in the polity you made a reference to. He talked about extrajudicial killings. The incidents we saw 2 days ago, or the ones we saw yesterday, they are just a reoccurrence of what has been with us. Because for the days of SARS or COSO and others you can make reference to, it's not new to us. We have seen cases where police officers kill people without them undergoing any kind of trial, and after doing that they will tell you that nothing is going to happen, and nothing happens. So whenever you see security personnel carrying out extrajudicial killings or brutalizing people, assaulting people, intimidating them, it's because we are giving them the sense of invincibility, that whatever they do, they are invincible, nothing is going to happen. That's why they go on and keep on doing what they do. I watched the video of what happened in Delta State, and I keep asking myself why somebody would in that nature pull the trigger and kill somebody who has not been sentenced by any court of law. And for the police in Delta State, of course, this is an opportunity for them to probe deeper, to know if the policeman in question knows anything about the said the so-called or the said Beretta pistol that was concealed in the parcel the guy received. Because I'm just wondering what could have made him to kill that very guy in that manner. Perhaps he knows more about it, so they should ask him questions to know whether he knows more about that very pistol that was concealed in the parcel that he received. And I also learned that the said policeman has been notorious for such an action. So if he has been notorious for that, why has he been kept in the system up till now? And guess what? This thing happened on Sunday, but we got to know about it yesterday because Harrison Bonishu, put out the video out there on social media. So maybe if he did not put out the video, nobody would have heard about this. So many questions that we need to ask the police by the time they join this very program. And then talk about what EFCC chairman said, that 6 out of any 10 university undergraduates that they are, fraudsters. Maybe I agree with him to a reasonable extent, but the figure needs to be questioned. But that tells you the level of fraud we have in our university system. And guess what? I heard somebody agreeing that those guys who are into fraudsters, they are trying to get what white men took from us. So nobody should blame them. And I keep asking myself, why would we have such a mentality? Whether it is a white man that is being defrauded or whether it's a black man. You see, criminality is criminality. And guess what? These fraudsters, they don't even pimp. They don't select who they defraud. They defraud based on who falls for them. So such an argument makes me wonder whether we are actually serious about making the country a better place for all of us to live in.
All right, then, Dr. Tony Olisampeki is also with us in the studio to make sense of these developments and more. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indianambra. Good morning, Onitsha. Good morning, Indosimo. Good morning, everyone under the reach of our voice in the Afia, Ndolwaka, Ndenkuzi, the healthcare workers, different professionals across different professions, pensioners, senior citizens, the physically challenged, farmers, and everyone who we may not have mentioned, but remember, it's as a result of the way the Spirit leads. Yes, it's another miracle for us. We are here to talk about Nigeria and issues around our communities, towns, villages, nation states as well, even beyond. That's what we are here for, and we have converged and convened in our sanctuary to perfect the truth and nothing but the truth. We'll also thank God Almighty for His mercies, for all He has been doing for us, for His grace, for His love, for His kindness, and things that are happening before our eyes. There is a way they usually say it in Nigerian parlance, happening in our right before. That's the way they say it. But in any case, sit back and enjoy the program. Expect nothing but undiluted truth. You're welcome.
Absolutely undiluted truth. That's what we offer you every day on the Polity, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Just to let you know, we are live on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. We're also live on YouTube. Now let's go to the papers. Tell you what the front pages say before we dive into the conversation proper. On our desk today this morning, Vanguard is here, Daily Sun, The Punch, and The Guardian. On the front page of the Guardian newspaper, opacity wicked audit trail of G spending amid abuse of Fiscal Responsibility Act. Find that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Afaleke picks presidential forms for Tinubu on page 3. Court orders MTN Airtel to resume airtime lending services on page 3. United Arab Emirates exit rattles OPEC as UN warns of worsening trade food crisis on page 3. ADC's 2027 prospects tether as court delay raises fresh fears on page 6. 2027 GAC adopts Hamzat as consensus candidate on page 5. FG moves against malnutrition, a case 2026 to 2035 nutrition policy. The timeline is quite interesting, 9 whole years, and you know when the timeline is this long, implementation is messed with. Find the story on page 30. Sanu to shut down varsities over stalled negotiation on Friday on page 5. EFCC probes VCs over inflated contracts. Students' fees diversion. This is on page 4. Terrorists threaten to execute 176 Kwara abductees on page 30. Rivers, stakeholders bemoan lull in governance. Multiple stalled projects on page 7. Honestly, it's quite a pity that the administration of Governor Fubara is one that may just end up being an empty one with all of the political drags that he's had to go through. And it would go down in history as probably one of the worst Rivers may have had, which may fortunately, unfortunately not be of his own making. And finally, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, rebuilding the foundations of basic education, how the Tinubu administration is driving system-wide reforms. This is a story on page 26 of the Guardian newspaper.
Okay, so let's see the headlines we have on the Punch newspaper. The big story there says 2027 election, Tinubu APC bigwigs peak forms. GAC backs Hamzat. That story is on page 34. It has a rider that says, Yayi Wadada I successions in Ogun. Nasrawa APC will reclaim Bauchi party vows. Coalitions no threat to Tinubu Falaki. Another headline here says presidency counters Northwest neglect claims. List ongoing project on page 26 of the Punch newspaper. Reps approved Tinubu's $516 million loan for Sakuto Badagry Highway on page 31. Xenophobic protests escalate in South Africa. Locals target school children on page 36. I saw the video yesterday and I was asking myself what is happening to South Africans. I saw many of them going to supermarkets asking people in the supermarket who are not nationals of South Africa for them to leave the country and even leave them with their business. And I'm asking myself, the government of South Africa, what is it doing to rein on this very madness? Or is it just keeping quiet and watching them mess up this very country?
Did you see the video that allegedly may be AI of women married to Nigerians? South African women married to Nigerians asked to live with their husbands.
Yes, I saw that one too.
Is that real?
I saw that one too. I wasn't able to verify that myself. But in the midst of what is going on, I chose to keep it by the side.
Why are South Africans so hateful though?
Well, if you look at the stories that have been bandied, what have been their reasons? They will tell you the issue of economic survival. They feel that people from other countries have come to take opportunities in that very country.
And if they are able to handle those tasks, would they be really giving to other people?
The point is that what is happening over there is it's all about people being should I say people being insecure, and at the same time just wanting to preach hate against other nationals, because if you are economically viable yourself, if you are productive, if you are skilled, I don't see how Nigerians or the other people from other African countries are going to take over what belongs to you. After all, in the policy of most companies, they do this thing they call industrial relation, whereby if you employ people from the immediate environment first before you talk about those outside. Now, if those people in South Africa are employing people from other countries other than South Africa, that shows that they do not have the requisite skills
Exactly.
for them to be useful in the industry.
They would crumble the economy with this hate if they're not careful.
Okay, so other headlines we have on the Punch say Neymar evacuates 12 children, 10 infants, 159 others from Libya. The story is on page 5. These people from Libya had a go because almost every 2-3 weeks you get to hear that 150, 170 are returned from Libya. And guess what? As these ones are coming back because of harsh situations in that very country, many others are also leaving.
I think it speaks to how badly Nigeria is doing. People are running away from home.
Yes.
Home cannot be safe and people are running away.
Yes, that's a fact. And why this Libya thing is because many Nigerians know that Libya is a route to Europe. So if they find themselves in Libya, they try to work and make some money. Once they make some money, they try to use the illegal route from Libya to get to some other European countries. Libya, go through Morocco and what have you not. So that's why you see many Nigerians going to that very Libya. Another headline we have on the front page of the Punch says US-Iran war. NNPC hikes oil prices by $7 per barrel. The story is on page 47 of Punch newspaper. FG targets $3 billion share earnings with export ban on page 48. Above the nameplate, delayed Supreme Court judgment. Opposition fears election exclusion. ADC petitions CJN. That story can be found on page 34 of a Punch newspaper. And these are the headlines we have on the front page of the Punch.
All right, then let's move over to the Sun newspaper this morning. Banner headline on the Sun newspaper is NLC cries out over workers' worsening conditions. Court affirms FCCPC passed probe medical negligence on page 27. And that banner headline does have a writer says high fuel price and stable naira inflation take toll on workers, seek government intervention on page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And the headline I was talking about the allegation of 6 out of every 10 university students being involved in internet fraud. According to the EFCC chair on page 6, he said 6 out of 10 varsity students, Yahoo boys. Quite interesting. Alleged $65,000 fraud. I didn't have personal contact with contractor, says Senator Kingibe on page 28. Reps Deputy Speaker Carlo urges law school to dismiss petition seeking withdrawal of his certificate on page 6. A court party disowns a Bado coalition, insists on fielding presidential candidate on page 26. Is there ever going to be an end to the bickering among oppositions, especially with this move to have, would I call it a collective factional fund?
The thing is, because I believe that this very coalition, and I'm very much convinced that there will not be a time when all the parties in the opposition are going to field one candidate. We might have a reasonable number of them agreeing to field one candidate, but all of them will not agree because there are always interests in every party.
Absolutely.
And these interests are being funded by people who are in the ruling party. So as long as the opposition parties are trying to coalesce, they're trying to come together, somebody will also be making inroads trying to get some people within. And yesterday we saw former presidential running mate to P2B in 2023, Baba Ahmed, saying that he's leaving Labour Party, is going to join PRP. And I was asking myself, what changed? Is it because he's not aligned with Nadi Osman-led Labour Party? Because we know how he went for a meeting organized by Julius Abure, saying that he was making an effort to reconcile all the warring factions. At the end of the day, court confirmed that Julius Abure's tenure had expired. And just yesterday, Labour Party confirmed or elected Nenadi Osman as a substantive national chairman during their convention that held in Umuahia, Abia State. Perhaps that informed his decision to leave the party and look for another platform. And in this very case, I doubt whether he's going to vie for the presidency. By the way, his brother is the chairman of that very party. So let's see how it goes for him.
The only thing permanent among politicians is interest. It's really an interesting time. And finally, on the front page of the Daily Sun 2027, I will contest, win, says Tinubu picks APC forms. Find that story on page 6.
Well, that was like speaking for him yesterday when he picked up the form. And so let's get over to Vanguard newspaper and see the headlines. And the big story there is on page 5. It says 2027 ADC PRP blow hot. The riders say we stand at grave risk of exclusion. ADC writes CJN. Our restraint should not be mistaken for weakness. PRP. Other riders, ADC seeks quick delivery of Supreme Court judgment. Alleges crisis in PRP engineered. APC pushes back against allegations of undermining PRP. Lawyers urge trust in Supreme Court amid next deadline pressure. Okay, we now go over to other headlines here. This one says a 400 billion naira airtime credit market out on raises alarm over regulatory dispute. The story is on page 39, and I think yesterday a court in Lagos and also a court in Abuja, Federal High Court in Lagos and Abuja, they said that MTN and Co should go ahead with their airtime loan scheme in defiance to what NCC said in its regulations. UAE quits OPEC May 1st, raises concerns over market stability on page 10 of Vanguard newspaper. Family recounts horrific killing of Abuja core member, demands justice. The story is on page 3. We have seen different narrative about what happened to the guy. From what the army said, they said, he was caught up in the crossfire between the army and the armed robbers. But some places are accounting that the guy was at home when this thing happened. So let's see what will become of that very story at the end of the day. The other headlines we have here: Jet A1 middlemen defy regulator, raises price to 2,230 naira per liter on page 29. 1 million naira salary worthless without stable naira. NLC on page 9. Tinubu kicks off 2027 re-election bid as APC begins a sale of farms on page 8. I don't know, if you saw the stories there of I think that should one Stanley from Edo State who picked up APC presidential nomination form for 100 million naira, saying that he's going to challenge Mr. President Tinubu.
I'd like to know who his sponsor is.
And guess what? The person that disclosed that is personal assistant to the national chairman of APC. So it made me to wonder whether somebody is trying to orchestrate a story to prove a point that the party is not solely meant for Mr. President.
Yes, I said I'd like to know who his sponsor is, because 100 million? Tell me something new.
Okay, so these are the stories we have on the front pages of these papers this morning.
All right, then we're going to start off the conversation proper. And just to remind you again, we are live on Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. And so I would have started off from Delta, closer to home, but we have to go to the political scene for obvious reasons. The police spokesperson for Delta State has an appointment till 10 o'clock. So we bring him on board by 10 and then we go back to Delta and x-ray what happened on the 26th of April to that young man, a 28-year-old. But then yesterday, according to the Punch newspaper, Tinubu APC bigwigs pick forms, GAC backs Hamzat. And of course, taking a look at this story, the 2027 political race in the ruling party, All Progressives Congress, gained some momentum on Tuesday as President Bola Tinubu and other aspirants obtained their nomination forms. Also, Osifo Stanley, that's the boy you were talking about, Franklin, from Edo State, or the man, forgive my manners or my use of words there.
Thank God.
Purchased 100 million naira presidential nomination forms to challenge Tinubu for the APC ticket at the primaries. This comes as Lagos State Deputy Governor Dr. Bafemi Hamzat secured the backing of the Governance Advisory Council as the APC consensus candidate in the state. Interesting times. It looks like political offices are meant for a particular group of people. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu endorses Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat as his successor That's the picture story, the description added to the picture story on this particular one. The founder of Tinubu Support Group's lawmaker representing Ikeja Federal Constituency, James Falike, who picked the 100 million naira expression of interest and nomination for the president, dismissed concerns over the emerging coalition against Tinubu, insisting they posed no threat to the APC. According to the party's 2027 schedule of activities, the sale of forms was scheduled to begin on Saturday, April 25 and end on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026. However, the process commenced 3 days later than planned. Party officials clarified that despite this brief delay, the overall deadline for form submission and aspirant eligibility remains unchanged, and all scheduled activities will still proceed as planned. This assurance is intended to help aspirants and stakeholders plan accordingly and reduce any uncertainty caused by the shift in timing. Johnny, interesting times, yeah? Stanley wants to challenge the president. What do you make of this emergence, this Stanley emergence? And of course, President Tinubu picking up the form, or Falike picking it up for him regardless of who does it, is something that we have been expecting. Anything new?
Well, I think many of us are really being carried away by the euphoria of whatever that comes up or whatever development that attracts public attention. You are talking about a Stanley. Don't you know that the young man is trying to make a way for himself? That very day, the primary has notified the party that he's going to step down for Mr. President, as it happened.
You expect?
Not expect. That's going to happen.
You expect that it's going to happen because, I mean, you didn't have a conversation with this young man.
No. I'm just telling you for fact. What we say here is go and verify. For a fact. Remember, the president, as the leader of the party, is done everywhere, in most country. He has the, what we call the right of refusal. You know, he can't, see, you cannot be sold a nomination form if it is not established that you are going to step down for Mr. President. It's not an open context. I'm talking about APC primaries. It's not an open context. The young man who has bought a form must have demonstrated, established that what he is doing is for the optics, to entertain those around those who say, oh, yeah, at least APC allowed one person to buy form. That tells you that it is not solely conscripted for Mr. President. That is just the case. And it's good at doing that to also prove something, that they are practicing internal democracy. As against some parties that will not even sell any form to anybody. It is important for you to note. Remember, the president, I still have the video, that the primary that brought him here is tough. The election itself, tough. Now he's here. It's a done deal. That's Mr. President's statement. The primary that brought him here, tough. The primaries, of course, it's tough. According to him, you remember what happened. Fabio started the wave of step down for Mr. President. He did step down to the point that the former governor of Ekiti State, Fayemi Kayode, who had made his own speech at that very primary, came back, recounted, and stepped back because he saw that every other person stepping down, even the lady who was appointed Minister of Uju, yes, Minister of Women Affairs. She did that. She surprisingly did that. Of course, what Uju did is exactly what Stanley is trying to do. There's no difference. That script has been played before, acted, so when we see one, we'll know. Don't bother yourself about that. Of course, that's what APC wants to package. And it's good for those who are going to really see it from the angle that the party is democratic. After all, they did not close nomination forms and decide not to sell to anybody, but the point is that they allowed the nomination forms to be sold to people who have interest in one person, and the man will always be used as a reference. And he bought a form, but what he does with the form he bought is left for him, but trust me, that's what he's going to do.
Okay, so Tony, looking at how IPC is going about the sale of the nomination form, it's like somebody did on your marks now, because yesterday a good number of persons purchased their nomination forms, even those from Anambra State, lots of them. they are doing that. Now, other parties, I don't know how far they are coming, because many of them are trying to put their house in order. ADC, for now, nothing is happening because of the court case. Of course, they will be waiting on the wings to know what the Supreme Court is going to rule. Then for the PDP, they announced their timetable and schedule for activities, but as it stands now, we haven't heard much about people going to pick up nomination forms. So it's like the time for the APC. Now, looking at what is going to happen as it stands now, because I'm not trying to see what is going to happen, do you think that by the time APC is done with the nomination process, it will still be a house united and coordinated? Or you see APC going into the 2027 election on a divided front, based on the feelers we are getting so far regarding how unsettled some persons are regarding how governors have been given the power to choose who is going to pick ticket for different positions within that very party?
One thing that APC have as an advantage, one thing they have is the advantage of, if you don't get this, you can be compensated with this. In a political party is just like a house filled by people with different interests, with this interest being paramount. Everybody wants something. People you see, especially at that level, not at the grassroots level, at that level, they have interest, one interest or the other. Everybody is working towards his interest, knowing fully well, if I support this person, I'm going to get this. If I don't support this person, no, it's not about interest. You just to make calculations, work out the interest, how it's going to materialize, how it's going to come to fruition. Yet there are those who may not get the interest so desired. Of course, it's natural for the person to be dissatisfied, to feel so bad and all that. But the person will now look up to the party to see if he could be compensated. Why they may end up not being divided could be because of the issue of, if you don't get this, you can get that. After all, there are many of them that would never be, everybody will not be the candidate of the party at every level, at every position. One person, you may look around, you see that there are about 10 persons or 15 persons gunning for a particular position. One person will emerge, but I know others will be concerned about the process of such emergence, and that process seems to have been handed over to the governors. And is there going to be a case of who the governor wants? The governor will deploy party structure, party machinery in the state to ensure that the person he wants becomes who he wants him to be. And others in the party will be asked, calm down, there are other things. Position are there. For me, I will see them coming out united as against different ones because of the advantage of being compensated if you don't have this. But there are few of them that may say, you know what, I'm not happy. But the door or the window for defection when you lose contest is over. So if you are bickering, if you say that for the fact I don't want this, I want to bring the roof down, where are you going to go? Remember, based on our own system, based on the way things happen in this country, if you don't have skeleton in your cupboard, don't make noise, because EFCC will be dangled before you. DSS will
You
be
mean to
dangled
say if
before.
you have skeletons in your cupboard, you better not.
If they don't have you, because if you have, you don't make noise. If you don't have, you cannot even do anything, because you cannot in any way defect or leave the party to another party. Once it's 30th of April, the window is closed. And besides, today is what? If you, by date, you understand that
29.
Today is 29. So by tomorrow, it's expected that every political party must have would submit their party register to INEC, and that finalizes it. Well, that means that you can only vie for position in that political party if your name is in the register. That is a technical knockout for defection introduced indirectly, not directly. Nobody, you won't see anywhere in the electoral act where it says, or where you see a provision that says you cannot leave this party A to party B, but indirectly it was enthroned, because once this register or registers are submitted, it means that you cannot contest anything in any party your name is not in.
Now,
Tony,
let's talk about this. Let's know whether it's a good thing for Nigerians, because people will tell you that you cannot change the system if you are outside. Because we always say that politics in Nigeria is dirty. It's being played by dirty people who don't have conscience, who don't have integrity. But you will be told that if you want to change the very system, you have to get inside. That the good men, the technocrats, they have to come in for us to change the politics. And I look at the names of people who have picked their forms. I saw the name of former IGP, former Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, who has obtained expression of interest form and nomination form to contest Nasarawa governorship election. And just wondering, how do you look at this? Somebody who served as IGP some years ago and now he's contesting. Does that suggest that while he was in office, he was politically exposed, and perhaps it could be it does not in any way, spell good for politics?
Well, there are so many people who are politically exposed to why they were in service. If you look around, because he's a policeman, what about those in military? Many of them were once in the service, and once they are out of it, they look for position. In Bauchi State, were you not aware that the former chief of air staff had a strong battle with the incumbent governor who defeated him, and he is warming up to come back again? He was in the service. We've seen former military men and women, ones that are retired, they come out and contest election. It is not common in police. That is why we are raising eyebrow. For me, there's nothing wrong with that. Once you are retired, you can seek for another position. In fact, even in UX, we've had many of their presidents who were once servicemen. Yes, they retired, and then, in fact, one led the country during the Second World War. Yes, the point is this: I don't see anything wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong. He's retired. He's retired. Is it because he's a member of police? If the person were to be a member of the armed forces, nobody will say anything because it is customary. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, our laws are very clear on that. That if you want to contest, why some of them are being told, if you want to join politics, leave the service. That's why they are cautioned, don't get yourself entangled in politics. Maintain neutrality. Don't in any way entertain partisanship. That's one of the guidelines if you are in the service. And there will be advice. If you are so much interested in politics, leave the service and join politics.
Interesting. Actually, that's the way it should be. You cannot serve two masters at the same time. One would definitely have interests overlapping the interests of the other party. Okay, so before we go on a commercial break, let's quickly look at this report by the EFCC alleging that 6 out of 10 university students are involved in cybercrime. Now, according to Olanikbeko Olukoyede, he raised concerns over the rise and involvement of Nigerian university students in cybercrime. According to Daily Trust yesterday, Olakoyede made this known at the 8th Biennial Conference of the Committee of Pro-Chancellors of State-Owned Universities held in Kano, where he described the trend as alarming and a threat to the country's future. He noted that findings from investigations and field operations by the Commission revealed that many suspects arrested for cyber-related offences are students, with some allegedly going as far as placing lecturers on their payroll to compromise academic processes. Tony, we need to declare an emergency with the way the young persons of this generation are going, especially where the future of the country would definitely actually depend on these young people. Some persons, they won't run things forever, and the people that are supposed to be handed over to are instead more interested in cyber fraud, in cybercrime. While the data might be questionable, what he raises a genuine concern, and I really want to know what you think about this trend.
For me, we have had this problem for a very long time. It's not a new thing, and we know very well that not just those in university. In fact, most young men, once they are out of primary school, once they're out of primary school, they get themselves entangled because they see how their fellow young people spend money, and mostly they spend on women, buy properties, drive all these cars, exotic cars and things like that. So everybody will get pushed. Not everybody anyway. Most people, or those who are of poor parenting, will get pushed. By the way, let me say this. It's important we really question some comments made by the EFCC chairman, Ulukaude, when he said 6 out of every 10 Nigerian students are involved in cybercrime. That's falsehood. You can't just make such outlandish statements for the fact that you've been involved in busting things like this, making arrests. Is he away? In fact, if I were to be there, I would ask him, what's the population of Nigerian students? Yes, what's the population of Nigerian students? For you to arrive at this 6 out of every 10. We don't just speak for the fact that we want to really entice our guests, those who are listening to us. It makes no sense, because I keep questioning, because it's our role to question some of these figures bandied from left to right. If you are a student or a graduate of statistics, you understand. Of course, I study statistics very well, up to PhD level. You can't just dangle data, dangle some of these things, and it makes no sense when you don't have the total number of Nigerian students telling us the ratio. It makes no sense.
Well, that ratio could have been exaggerated, Tony. Like I said, we have a real emergency to deal with.
Of course, yes. The truth is that, are we looking at the causative factors? Because we are so reactionary in this country. Are we looking at what pushed these young people into crimes like this? And what efforts is government making to tame it? Both kinetic and non-kinetic, because the EFCC were trying to bust this, trying to arrest those involved. These things are kinetic. What about the non-kinetic? When we've known very well that our students have been so much exposed in a lot of things, especially things going on the internet, can't we introduce something in place of the fraud aspect of it? Robotics, coding, and there's so many things we can introduce. And it could be cryptocurrency. There are so many things that are legitimate that can be introduced. But I know that we can speak this thing from here to eternity. The EFCC that is talking, most times when they catch these young men, they demand for their courts. He's not speaking about some unprofessional conduct by his man. I've had cases where they will catch you, they will ask you to pay some amount of money. And at times they will even ask you, let's share this boy. Is you not also aware that some EFCC members that are also into fraud, internet, fraud?
Is by way of aiding and abetting?
Of course, it's always good for us to be comprehensive in our speech, in our attitude. We've seen situations where, in fact, the proceeds of fraud, most of them got missing. Yes, we're not talking about that, but the truth is that maybe he has come to talk about internet fraud, what they call Yahoo. Maybe he has come to talk about it. But if we have to be either the person rendering the speech or the lecturer for the day, I would highlight a lot of things that we are not also immune. We are not also immune. It's somehow something that is cancerous. But do we have these checks that can checkmate things like this? But the truth is that, what is their professional way of handling some of these developments? Because we've seen them going in a Gestapo style, trying to apprehend an internet fraudster in a manner that is despicable. Did he also speak about that? I'm not in any way against anybody. I'm just trying to highlight everything.
Yeah, this is one side of the story. Yeah. But let's focus on, like I said, my concern is about the future. Because these other people you speak of will eventually phase off the system. Okay. But the people that the system would be entrusted to are the people that we have been very much at the center of all of these distractions. Like he actually rightly pointed out, most of them are more interested in competing. What's it called now? What model of Benz are you riding? Some schools have gone as far as banning students from entering school premises with cars. It became a competition at some point. Lecturers get to schools and parking lots are occupied, and these boys are just, at the center of it all is the fact that there is a system that needs to be protected. There is a sanity that needs to be maintained, not poverty. But if people start to look away from the dignity of labor and everything goes towards the fast lane, I am afraid we have a situation. In the coming days, we might end up like South Africa. There'll be things to do and there'll be no one to do them. And we might turn around hateful. Like Franklin pointed out, some of these persons give you the defense of the white man looted Africa at some point. And so what?
The truth is, just like I keep saying, it's a wrong narration. You can't just say because white man looted Africa and that's no reason why you are into what you are into. I've looked at the anti-money laundering framework in some countries, especially in Germany, because Germany has what they call German Anti-Money Laundering Act. They call it GWG, which requires banks, lawyers, real estate agents, many of them, they must identify customers, they must verify where money comes from, report suspicious transactions. We have things similar to these in Nigeria, but implementation has always been a problem. We have shown fatigue in implementing a lot of things, either because we have interest or we want to meet the person beforehand to see if the person can give us a cut. It has been a problem. The truth is, we have NFIU, which was carved out from EFCC. They are supposed to monitor transactions, inflows, outflows, look at bank accounts. Ordinarily, I think we may have over 250 million bank accounts or less. The truth is that each time a transaction comes in a million, there should be a flag. Yes, many countries do it. That is why.
Depends on the kind of account it is going to.
That's what I'm saying. If it is just like you said.
Can I add something? Because you're going to an area where certain amount of money should be flagged.
Yeah.
If I tell you that all these things are there in the banking system, you'll be surprised. There are certain regulations you might be thinking that they are not there. They are already existing. There are some kind of transactions that you can't even do over the counter. That you must go in and go and meet some authorities before it can be done. So some of these regulations are out there, but the problem is that it's observing breaches. That's what happens. Now, coming back to the figure which was put out by EFCC chairman, okay, I raised the question about the figure that he might have blown it out of proportion, in as much as he said it was based on the research he conducted in the last 1 year.
Right.
But for me, I know that he was speaking in hyperbole, but it does not negate the fact that there are many undergraduates who are into fraudulent activities. Many of them. In fact, there are many people who are not even in the university.
That's what I'm saying.
Who are also into this illicit money making. Yeah. Many of them. I'll give you an instance. So what I'm going to say now is very, very personal. I know somebody who is related to me, and each time I have a cause to ask question about my relative, I keep on asking, how is this very guy? And they keep on telling me that this guy has refused to learn anything. They have put him through to learn different kinds of skills, but each one they send him to go and do, he comes out. Do you know what he keeps on doing? He keeps on following people, trying to learn how to do Yahoo. That's what he's doing, because this time around we now have a generation of young people who are looking for easy way of making money. They are looking for a gumbute other than a gumbata. They forget that there is a way of building wealth because of what they see on social media these days, because of the doings culture we now have. Everybody has become loud. Everybody now wants to show that I have arrived. Now, people who have made the money, if they are doing burial, what do? They show you money in bundles. And for them, they feel oppressed. And they need to belong to that very class. There was one burial that was done in Ebonyi State recently. Maybe many of us know about it. You saw how people were displaying money. They just pack money in, they bring money in packs and keep on the table to show you that we have come to do the doings. Mm-hmm. So you see,
the one that had gold plated iPhones.
Yeah. So you see that all these things we do in a society have a way of, affecting or changing the mindset of the young people who now think that the only way they can be in that very realm, for them to be recognized, for them to be given that status of we have arrived, they have to resort to ways of making money in the shortest possible way. Now, do you know that there are hotels in Nigeria that enable this very first time? Many hotels that are constructed in remote areas. This is the kind of area where they go to. Because they know that once they are there doing their business, nobody comes there to disturb them. And they even work in cohort with these hotels, whereby if any security check comes in there, they are alerted. What am I saying in essence? What we are seeing, or what EFCC chairman said, is just like a tip of the iceberg of the kind of situation we have found ourselves in, whereby every young person's out there is looking for the shortest way to make money. And they think that the best way to make that very money is use the internet and defraud people, whether they are defrauding Nigerians or white men or whoever. But what I'm saying in essence is
fraud is fraud.
Any way you see it, this is fraudulent. We also have parents who know that their children were into this. Was it not about 4 or 5 years ago? Somebody from my town was paraded in Oka. And guess what? Onye they go MP also. Mel Mpianka, Gold Mpiamoto, now alone. And this guy was doing this when he was in university.
Interesting times. Really sad development. Please.
I want to just make a statement, quickly, because when we are talking about this, the common language in the street is as a man. And when they say this as a man of a thing, and I was thinking that the as a man is somebody from Asia. But that's what I was thinking. They say as a man, I will be thinking is somebody from Asia, and Asia is my neighboring town. Until I got to know that the as a man they're talking about is the man who collects the payment.
You mean picker?
Of course, the person who picks the payment in foreign accounts.
Let's not even forget Nigerian artists who make songs glorifying all of
all these as a man. And you know one thing, if you ask a woman, a lady now, who do you want to marry? Do you want to marry a professional, a lawyer, a banker, a journalist, or as a man or a Yahoo? The person will probably tell you a Yahoo person. That is the erosion Franklin is talking about. The truth is, there are a lot of things we should do. As an institute, I believe everything rests on the state, not even the state must take.
It's a collective responsibility. We all need to declare SOS.
There will never be a time.
Parents, give me a second. Okay. A parent, like Franklin said, was celebrating. How do you explain that a 17-year-old suddenly boutique? It's obvious. The erosion is deep down.
It's deep down. That's what I'm saying. The state should come hard, professionally.
I think Governor Saludo mentioned of it. If your child is caught, you're also going to do something like that.
NFIO, do your job. EFCC, do your job properly. And there are so many proceeds of crime. Of course, our politicians, these young people will tell you, the ones that are doing in Dubai and all that. Many hotels were built using proceeds of this kind of thing, and most times this Yahoo of a thing is totally impersonation. That is how it works.
It's actually a very deep-rooted thing.
Yes, but the key amongst them is what? Impersonation, where you impersonate somebody. A white woman thinks you are this. You impersonate internet, website, everything. Individual.
On a commercial.
That's just that.
We'll be right back.
We are Udala Radio. Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
When you think of roofing, think of strength. When you think of durability, think of beauty. And when you think of all three combined, think Best Aluminium MFG Limited. At Best Aluminium, we don't just manufacture roofing sheets. We create protection, comfort, and style for your home and business. Whether you're building from scratch or repairing an old roof, we have exactly what you need. Our products include stone-coated roofing sheets, aluminum roofing sheets, and colored roofing sheets. But that's not all. We also offer residential and commercial roofing services, roof repairs, gutters, emergency roofing services, and even durable cookwares that bring quality to your kitchen. Visit us today at 30/32 Anyika Street, Awada Obosi, Anambra State, or call us right now on 0806 416 2374 or 0706 059 6203. Are you smart, confident, and ready to earn big? Do you have a passion for sales and marketing? Then listen up. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is calling on ambitious, result-driven individuals to join our team as marketers. No limits, no boundaries, just results and rewards. Work at your own pace, meet amazing clients, and grow your income. Sell it, share it, earn your way. Join Udala Radio and start today. Interested? Visit our station today at number 5 Okuno Street, Onitsha, or call 0803-350-4206 or send your CV to udalaradio@gmail.com. Don't wait. Your success story starts here. Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic. Igbo proverbs, words of wisdom passed down through generations. Genonte. Ọtụtụ ka eji achọ ewu ojii. The search for a black goat should start before nightfall. This means that it's best to take advantage of a situation when it's favorable to you. 104.7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
So this happened in Efuru Delta State on 26th of April. I am still trying to get a hold of the PPRO of Delta State Police Command. He was supposed to join the conversation and exactly tell us what happened, because from what we understand from the video I just played, the young man in the video reportedly went to pick up a parcel for his friend at a park. And on getting to the park to pick up the parcel, it was realized that what was in it was a gun. And the park officials called on the police. They actually restrained the young man, tied him up, kept him, and then the police came. And instead of the police to take this young man away, go have him investigated, the police officials who came, I must point out, dressed haphazardly, came together and we are swagalliciously walking around the man, you know, the kind of questioning. The boy was already begging, saying he was going to lead them to the person who has the gun. That is one very vital information, because we talk about the proliferation of light and small weapons in the country, and every single time it looks like all the people involved evade authorities. But this young man was willing to lead them to the person who allegedly sent him. What did he get instead? A gunshot on his arm. And right after that, he was put into the vehicle. And from what we understand, when he got to the police station, he was shot 3 more times. And so what we have now is a case dead on arrival. The police officers, we understand, are already on their way to Abuja, already in Abuja, to be tried and this taken care of. But the critical part of this investigation, we are yet to get. What exactly happened? Who owns the gun? What was covered? Not attempted to be covered. What was covered by the death? A 28 young man. Why was his life cut short in that way, Tony?
Well, if you ask me why was his life cut short in such a manner, we saw the video and we all felt so bad. There were many that could not even watch it, and there were those that watched the video, they could not in any way isolate themselves from the trauma that has caused them. Honestly speaking, what we saw as far as the video is concerned is nothing short of impunity. Impunita fascinora. That's what we saw. Impunita ardent. This audacity to commit anything and believing that nothing will happen. I've always said it many times that broadly said impune fit constituedo. Whatever is not punished definitely becomes a habit. The young man who did that thing, ASP Nuhu Usman, there were other records I saw, they said it's CSP. Another record says ASP, but from the one put out by the force, and then the other state commanders, they called him or they identified the man himself as ASP. ASP that looks like a criminal. I thought the IGP said something about they should not wear beards. Was that not enforced? And if you looked around the video, he was wearing knicker. With was it bongo knicker and sneakers? Is that how a policeman dressed lately? But the point is, I have said it, we have institutional crisis. When I have been championing for not just institutional reforms and the issue of decentralization of the police to the level that the people will oversight them, let people take ownership of the policing institution as against vested interest. I have said it many times. What we saw, as you asked me, we saw impunity at its highest level. And the man, thank God they did not do it within the confinement, because if they had taken the young man inside the room, they could have done the same thing. But they would tell you that the young man died during interrogation. They would tell you that the young man stopped breathing. And that's why there are a lot of cover-ups. And if you go around, you can understand that this is not the same time, because if you look around, there was another police officer that assisted him to set up the AK-47. They were there looking at him, meaning that before he killed or shot that young man, other policemen who were there already knew what he was about doing. What does that tell you? That it is a common practice, a common habit. And let me say this. I recall vividly that where these things had happened in the past, certain countries took certain actions. I looked at issue of police brutality. That was why we had a revamped or a reviewed police act, because the one we have right now is Nigerian Police Act 2020. I remember the End SARS protest that happened in 2020 as well. We about 12 persons, according to Amnesty International, were killed at Lekki Toll Gate as a result of police brutality. And mind you, since the formation of SARS, since 1993, it has always been one brutality or the other. And people felt that that must come to an end in 2020. Bloods and a lot of things were shared, and so many things happened. The Police Act not been enforced. In fact, if you look at the Order 237 of their guidelines that talks about the use of firearms, you can understand that some of these things never happened or never implemented. And if you look around, you'll narrate the story as you were told, but there could be more to this.
Absolutely.
There could be more to this, because if you look around, we are, parks, apprehended somebody who made that very well bill. What happened to the person who were billed? So does it mean that even before you make way bill, you don't document what the content is, and also do some profiling to make sure that what you put out as the content is actually what is it? Things like that we are not done. So what it means that the young person who sent this parcel, the person who could have reviewed who sent this parcel, is killed. Evidence killed. Evidence murdered. Justice murdered. And that's why some people are linking the police to the crime. That it could be a way that they have interconnectivity, and possibly they were in a rush to get him killed. A lot of things happened. I wouldn't want to bore you with a lot of things that happened elsewhere. I remember a lot of riots in different countries that brought about changes. If you come to United Kingdom now, before a policeman will do stop and search, because we are using or abusing source law. You know what is source law in UK before now? Source law is suspected persons law, where the police has that mandate to stop you, to search you, to even detain you on mere suspicion. But after the 1981 riots, it gave room for Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984 in UK called PERSI, which introduced quite a number of things. Before you can be stopped and searched in UK now, there's what we call go wisely principle. Go wisely principle, because the G there stands for grant for the search, the O there stands for the object, the W there stands for warrant, the I there stands for identity, because the person must tell you who he is, the number, the police number. And if you also talk about other things, the law involved in making the search, and not also that you have the right to document the search. That is the principle, go wisely principle. But the truth is, it came as a result of riot, 1981 riot, where police were misusing source law, suspected persons law, and that source law was abolished. You can't use it. Before you search somebody, there must be a reasonable evidence based on fact. You must get to know that the person was holding or having anything criminal tainted or criminally inclined thing. You can't just stop somebody based on dress, appearance, the clothes the person is putting on, and then what do you call it?
Was it not in this country where governor said if you see him on dreadlocks, shoot him?
But he later recanted, he later apologized.
He apologized, but he said it.
But he made it probably as a result of exuberance. We are talking about Governor of Niger State, Governor Bago. The point I'm talking about is this: suspicion is not based on all these things: age, race, color, where, what you are putting on, how you are dressed. No. These were some of the things the law repealed. And body worn camera, if not for a camera that videoed this, Chisom, Franklin will not be talking about this.
Absolutely.
How did we get to know about this? Because there was somebody was putting on a camera, and that camera, sunglass, glass. When I talk about body worn camera, people don't understand what is going to prevent. Remember, we are told that the area commander sent the patrol team on this mission, and the area commander who sent them on this mission cannot even monitor them, cannot even know what they will be doing. There is no monitoring gadget, and they went and did what they did because they're going to give him opposite reports.
Is it possible that the area commander might even be complicit? I am just
no.
I mean, for him to, of all people, to send it is this same notorious one who has a record of moving like this.
My concern is, yes, that's another question. It's a very pertinent question he asked there. But let's give him benefit of doubt. How do you monitor person you sent on assignment? There's no monitoring system.
Okay.
There's no monitoring.
Can I add, because this adds to what we have all known for a long time, and we are crying for reform. Any sane person in Nigeria knows that the police needs so much reform. But what is ironical is that each time we have a new IGP, they'll tell you they're going to run some reform, they're going to do this and do that and do that. At the end of the day, he ends up on the desk where he said it. Now, Tony made reference to the UK where they have source law on how to search. Now, it's not that these things are not codified in Nigeria, but the problem is that we don't have that very way to enforce them. Take, for instance, if you check the Police Act of 2020, you will see that when it comes to a police officer searching you, there are procedures. One is that police officer must first of all identify himself and tell you the reason why he wants to search you, and he must be in uniform. And even before he searches you, he will allow you to search him first before he goes about to do that. These things are codified.
How do you monitor it?
But the point is that nobody does that. And even when people report about breaches, they are brutalized. Nobody gets to listen to them. Now, this case we have in Delta, I'm just watching to see how the police is going to go about this, because the way it ends is going to speak a whole lot about how police handles these issues, or if there's going to be a change on that issue, or whether it's going to be the same old story. Because why am I saying this? This Delta incident is not making me to wonder whether we are fighting crime or whether we are hiding crime. Because like Tony has already pointed out that The fact that you had killed a suspect who was begging you that he would confess.
Even if the suspect was being hardened, you still have no right to kill him.
And he had the courage to pull the trigger. From the story,
publicly.
From the story we are told, he was shot in the leg first at the scene. And when he was moved to the police station, that was where, on the arm. He was shot on the arm first at the scene. Then took him alive to police station and killed him at the police station. As if it was premeditated. That's why we are saying police should do a thorough investigation to find out if the officer has a link to the story about the barretta pistol that was concealed in a consignment. They should be thorough with this so that we get to know what actually we are fighting, what actually we are fighting against. Then it talk about others first, because what happened in data is just like one, like I said, it's just like one out of many we see on daily basis. And also because I wanted to ask the police spokesperson in Delta State, but unfortunately he's not here, to know why they had kept this very man for a long time, despite the fact that there are complaints already lodged against him. From what I have read so far, he has plethora of cases.
A record.
Yes, he has a record of
like
being high-handed and even threatening to kill people, and nothing is going to happen. So I'm wondering why they have kept this man all this while in the system, and nothing has happened. And now, I don't know.
Let me help you.
I don't
because
know
the picture of the man we saw, he wrote Obwebe. He tattooed Obwebe. Because we have seen many of his pictures. He tattooed Obwebe with a very nice chain. What does that tell you? That this person did not come to do police work. He is there to milk people to make money. I keep saying this for the entire patrol team to watch why he was doing what he was doing. What does that tell you? Consensus. Nobody even reminded.
And it's not new to them.
It's not new to, nobody reminded anybody amongst them that this is not the procedure, that we need to do this. Nobody, even if when
someone
the leader
handed him the bullet,
they were assisting him in such execution. They think they are not complicit. They are all complicit. And let me say this: when we talk about police brutality, it is common. In fact, let me quote EFCC chairman in a revised form. In every 10 police person, you will see just 8 that are like this man we are talking about. 2 are just people who have come to do their work. And most times, these people who have come to do their work try to avoid the bad eggs. The bad eggs are more. If you bring 10 eggs, 8 are bad already. The 2 that are good, we always not want to collide with them because they have power, they have contact, they have supporters, they have those around them. That is the institution we have found ourselves. A very, very decrepit institution, very decayed in every standard one can talk about. There's nothing anybody is going to tell me that I will listen. I counted many of the, when I was a student moving or ferrying from Onitsha to UNN, you will see some of them why they will be doing some search. If you try to tell them that's not the way to go, because they will tell some female students to unwrap their bra. They will tell them, no, that's not the case. They will retort, I will shoot you here and nothing will happen. Impunity.
Sadly,
that is the madness we have.
It has been entrenched in
entrusted to police people since the police was unified in this country in 1930.
The thing is, because I once had an experience. Anybody who knows police headquarters in Oka, there was a time that place was an extortion point. Like if you're coming from Enugu, for instance, and you are coming from Amobe bypass, then you get to that very roundabout before you now get to Red Cross and Co. There was a time that place was a police extortion point. Do you know what happens there? Once you come across there, if you're carrying any bag, policemen will stop you, and in the full glare of the public, they will ask you to unpack whatever is inside their bag. I was once there in 1 2-story building. I was watching, and I saw women unpacking their bras and pants in the public. So from that very building, I took a picture of what was happening, and then that was when Abba and John Abba was Commissioner of Police in Anambra. I took those pictures and I did a story and posted on the police platform. Right that evening, they were withdrawn. But guess what? I got a call. We are calling you from so and so division, cause so that you tell us more about what you know. And I asked the person, tell you more about what I know. Things that happen on daily basis. In fact, I wasn't because that day happened. I was passing there. They called me. I was carrying my laptop. Once they called me, I said, when I came closer, they asked me what were I carrying. I just brought out my ID card and showed them, and I continued my journey. Then I went to that story and watched what was happening. So why I'm told this story is because for you to understand that we know these things. Even police supervisors, the authorities, they know these things. But the thing is that they don't act until maybe there's one incident. People begin to go haywire. They will just take one action at that very moment, and everything goes back to default setting.
We keep our fingers crossed to see how decisive this action.
We sympathize with the family of the young man. If I can get the name, the man, because from the sound, from the look of the name, the person who died was from Urobo ethnic group. And I know the Sapling Road. I have been at that Sapling Road. I have been to a front. I know these places very well. The truth is that we must sympathize with them. And I also want the governor of Lagos, Delta State to show interest in this case. The team that did it. And of course, I also want the public to speak out.
All right, Tony.
And then the issue of body-worn camera remains a necessity. We must monitor those who are holding guns. You don't give anybody a gun without monitoring the person.
We need to go on a break now, attend to some commercials. Unfortunately, the police PPRO in Delta State could have been with us. We actually scheduled an interview for 10 o'clock because I have a lot of questions. I'd like to understand if his men understand that their duty starts with arrest and then to investigation and prosecution. By prosecution, we mean charging the person to a court of competent jurisdiction, and the court decides what happens from there on. And then, of course, I'd also like to know if they are going to be taking decisive actions in this case. And Delta is a place that has been known for similar incidents in the past. While I was in a radio station in Delta State, I remember we reported so many of similar incidents. There was a particular one reported sometime in 2019-2020 of the police officers who did it in full-blown daylight, planting guns and machetes in the vehicles of the supposed Yahoo boys that they hunted down and killed because they were not willing to make transfers. This happened in Delta State a couple of years back. And I am hoping that in the coming days that we actually take decisive actions to protect the rights and lives of every Nigerian. Every life matters, and no one is guilty until proven so. And of course, condemned to be punished a certain way by a law of competent jurisdiction. We'll take a break now, attend to some commercials. We'll be right back.
104.7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to Udala Radio, 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
For too long, realtors have walked alone. No structure, no protection, no unified voice. That era ends now. Welcome to the Realtors Summit 2026, a historic gathering that will redefine real estate in Anambra and Asaba. The Anambra Asaba Realtors Association, a platform for unity, influence, and collective power. And beyond that, a Realtors Welfare Initiative built to support you when it matters most. Strengthen your career and secure your future in the industry. At this summit, you'll discover smarter ways to close and scale, multiple income channels in real estate, and strategies that move you from hustle to ownership and authority. Featuring Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki of Udala FM, Lovelin Chinenye Nana, Property Buzz, and Mr. Jude Igwebike, IT Professional. Date 2nd May 2026. Time 11 a.m. Venue 5-star Restaurant Hall, Stock Exchange, Onitsha. This is not for everyone, but for realtors who are ready to rise. For inquiries, call 0803-276-0653. This summit is free, powered by Nebek Real Estate Limited.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley World Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operator Lounge Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental include cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Operiche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after-work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Operiche Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Nebek Real Estate brings you opportunity that grow with you. Greenfield Estate, Oba. Just 1 minute from Owerri Road. King's Court Estate, Ibiza, opposite Admiralty University. Purity Garden and Classic Estate, Asaba. Just 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport. Ikenga Luxury Estate, Ojoto. 7 minutes to Electrical Dealers Market, Obosi. Nebek. Invest today, gain tomorrow. Visit us at 25 Oka Road, Onitsha, beside Mandela, or Asaba Office 21 and 22, Brain Oil Mall, 295 EBC Road, opposite Lion House, Asaba, or call us on 080-3265-7455 or 070-1607-8648 or visit us at www.nebekgroup.com.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, how about it and they do yellow? Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, it and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread, and in town. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tani Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Call across now, get involved 0803-221-6973, 082827-6694 are the numbers to call to be a part of the conversation today. If you can keep it within the 1 minute mark, please summarize everything you'd like to say. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin. Good morning,
Your welcome is good to
have.
have.
The Honorable the Mayor, calling from our district. Please, I want to talk about the issue of police and data. From what you people have just said, you look at it well. That policeman that took that guy knows he knows everything about it. The reason why he don't want other things to be exposed. Not just that he did it, but he has hands on that business. Then, I want to talk about the forms. 100 million for presidential candidate form. Is that not outrageous? It's too much. Okay, these young men that are capable to contest, well, we just get 100 million. Then another thing too is that this guy that picked the form from Delta State, I think from Delta State, he just want his name to be heard, and the deal so that who we see that the APC are transparent what they are doing. All we know is that we have to very, very out for this election. See that Tinubu is not good again, because what is he going to do again? What is he going there to do again? Now, what is he doing? What is he going to do again there? Thank you, God bless you.
Thank you. Let's hear you. 08032216973. Good morning. Hello. You should try to reconnect. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Shiso.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my name is Josh. Calling from Asaba.
Go ahead, Joshua.
You see, it's a very I watched that video. I was very weak in my spirit. Just yesterday, we are discussing about South Africa killing our people. Today now, we're now discussing about a policeman killing a Nigerian. When we have cause, I'm very, like what people said, please, we need the Delta State government to come into this matter. Because a policeman has told me once that he will shoot me, nothing will happen. At Mayor Babangida in Asaba. He told me directly. Because he was doing stashing. I told him, I take it easy now. The other guy got me and said, you don't know who they talk to. So he said, no man, I'll shoot and kill and away for you. Nobody go talk about them. I just look at him and say, well, no problem. Now your choice. Make it not happen. Move, forget about that one. Now what I just tell him and I move. So the truth is that the way our police, I thought that we did NSAS and then now do some reform and say we don't have SARS anymore. But that is a big lie. We even have the one that's even worse than SARS now. I don't want to measure the name that they are calling them in Asaba. Those ones, they move with mufti, with sienna, without uniform. They will just wear a particular emblem in their body, moving around with beards their ear, put earrings like those people. They don't have a shaking point. Anywhere they fire, they will stop there and do shaking point. Tomorrow time, like someone like me that don't normally move around. Tomorrow time you will see them in Opana Road. Tomorrow time you will see them in Expert, in Coca, every corner. Those kind of people can do something to you. Nobody will give account of them because they are not wearing uniform. They are not wearing their name. I thought that the number is not supposed to put on the uniform. If anything happens to you, then you will see the name on the uniform and say that this is so that did this to me. Please, we need reform because we can continue this. We can continue living this way in our own country. In our own country, wow.
Thank you
very
much.
They talk about South Africa yesterday. They'll see this one now.
Thank you very much. Let's let other people join the conversation. Hello there.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Udala.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, Mr. Tony, good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
I heard what you said. I like the way you address the issue of a policeman shooting a young guy because of SYC. Thank you very much. Don't want anybody. Okay. My name is Xenophobic, calling from Asaba. Hello?
Please
we
go.
Can
we
hear
are listening
you.
to
Go
you.
ahead.
Okay. Oh, well, you go down. So I want to know that you understand? So this, like the way you said, you want the government that the governor should to look into this matter and let the people of Asaba, as I'm talking to you now, the youth of Asaba, they are getting the petition because something like that after. Because it's not good. How can you see somebody your son just like that because of FYZ? And what people are saying now, because of what people are saying now, they are accusing the police to know about that case or whatever. You see, it's not good. I don't know what they get for the 100 million of buying from. I would not like to hear, I like it that. Let them do 1 billion until God will come one day and help us. Like what you see in one of your systems, you say that human being change environment, maybe environment they change human being. It will happen one day. Thank you, have a nice day.
Have a good day too. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
God will continue to bless you, Dr. Tony. I love you so much. My name is Tanya. I'm calling you from Mabunite here. Well, what we are seeing in police is the offshoot of what Nigeria is producing because don't have. That language that guy spoke, I'll shoot you and nothing will happen. It has actually been spoken to many Nigerians, including me. You know, as harmless I am, as harmless as I am. These policemen, these very particular policemen you're talking about now, so many times you see them at the head bridge. Immediately you cross Niger Bridge, entering Asaba, you see them with mob, with the wear black and black, sneaker, the back rickety piano by the side. You cannot even identify them wearing their tattoo and all whatnot. So it's very, very bad that we cannot survive your subject. Some of us did this civil service. You know, by the special grace of God, I'm a Nigerian pensioner and I've been a pensioner for 60-something years. You know, so it's only in police force that somebody will save somebody a job if really that they are sent by their sister and nobody supervises them and know how they do that job. It's very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Thank you very much for your work.
Thank you for your contribution. Let's hear what you have to say. 08032216973. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Tony. Good morning, Jason. Good morning. Good morning, it's me, Udala, calling from war. Please, I want to discuss something about a full nation. The truth is that man, that move, that shot that boy, he is into gun running. And he doesn't want his certificate to be implicated. Doesn't want it to come out. That's why he shot and killed that boy. I wish justice should be served. A lot of police brutality is going on in this country. That's on record for. So I support what Tony said about body cameras. These people are doing this with impunity. Even bragging on the special room, saying if they shoot you, nothing will happen. They have said that to me personally about last year. When they shoot you, nothing will happen. They are doing these things. If you cannot give somebody gun, that's putting camera on that person. Nigeria is too corrupt. I don't know what this kind of, don't know the kind of people with the English. They should put body cameras on these people, men. Help people carrying guns so that they know that they are being watched. When they know that they are being watched, will do their job.
You should try to reconnect. Good morning. Hello there.
Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning.
I am Greeting Asia Pakego, radiating from Osumoro. Please, I want to beg Nigerian politicians to face the real business. The real business is insecurity. To give us security and leave these Yahoo boys and guys alone. These are the boys who do not have any job. This thing they are doing, they are not more than the leaders. Nigerians, politicians have looted this country dry. And they are pointing accusing fingers on Yahoo boys and girls who are jobless. Nigerians should face their business and leave this voice alone. Yes, police harassment everywhere. Military harassment everywhere. Looting everywhere. More administration everywhere. Hunger. And these boys and girls are looking for ways to feed themselves. They are being pursued here and there. What is Nigeria doing to those looters? Between looters and Yahoo boys, which is more severe, more dangerous to the society of Nigeria. They should leave this work and get alone and take the real business. Give us a good democracy, rule of law. Let them do the right things and leave this work alone. Good morning, everyone in the studio.
Good morning to you.
Can I say something?
Okay,
there's no difference between somebody who does what they call pickpocket and the looter.
And even Yahoo.
They are all criminality.
They are all part of the same business, different styles.
I'm calling from Uganda. I want to talk about the issue of this Yahoo. Seriously, I think the reason why that is today is because of our perception about that issue of that. Because like the last one now, what we say now, is saying that people are still having that kind of perception. And with that kind of perception, this kind of thing will not stop. You understand? And again, and you know, there's any time I support government. But this one, telling us that because of unemployment, that's why people going through that. I think it's totally lie. Because you don't expect government to give you a job. There's nowhere in the world where government gives jobs. If what we need from government is an enable environment to want to start. You understand? So government does not give jobs. Anybody telling you that government gives jobs is lying to you. What we need is an enable environment. And once they give us that enable environment, we can be able to thrive. You understand? So for this issue of, and again, another thing is family. You know, the family has to do a lot on this issue because all these things start from family. For example, I go in the essence of doing this kind of thing, and my family members do not ask question. Why did this thing happen? They support me. They just, if I bring the money, they will just take the money without asking where did I get this money? Okay, like look at the way most of us react to this issue. You understand? I want to tell you that most of us support this. You understand? So we will not stop until we ourselves ask ourselves a serious question. And if we do not change our mindset on this thing, it will continue to happen. So I think parents have a lot to teach. Yes, parents have to educate their children, change their mindset, tell them that this is wrong. And once they start to get that kind of money, ask questions. Where do you get this thing? Because you continue like this, one day it might be you. They might ask him to kill you so that they can get that money. You understand? So we should act fast now that this thing has gone with direction. Thank you very much.
Right, and let's head over to Facebook, Udala Radio 104.7 FM for your comments.
Okay, so from the Facebook page here, Master S says Nigerian politicians and leaders need to be told of heavy calamity that is coming for this very country, Nigeria. Our youths, particularly the students, are becoming fraudsters. Okay, he posted from Onitsha. Dr. Misimo Lebara from Owerri State says, when is a nation failed or failing? The barometer for measuring it is easily readable. The readings include system failure, insecurity, corruption, anti-democratic tendencies. A nation can be failed when there is government without good governance, when instruments of war available to individuals, militants, Boko Haram, herdsmen, and robbers far outweigh those in the military and police armories. Obia Wicket Christopher from Abatan Sube says the EFCC boss that gave us the statistics of Nigerian students that are involved in cybercrime shows incompetence and false data. We have more females in the university than males and more males that are involved in the crimes. If going by his data, then more females are into cybercrime more than males. However, we have more people that are not students who are involved in cybercrime. This is one of the reasons international agencies cannot rely on our data. Well, this is not even data. I think he was just speaking and trying to buttress his point. Sebastian Abiga from Gwabobosi says the xenophobic attack in South Africa is really unfortunate, and the question remains, are we the cause or not? Look, whatever may be responsible for all of these unwholesome scenario, the governments are doing enough as regard to the welfare and security of the citizens. Okay? Zakwe Celestine says, I want to disagree with the EFCC chairman. Come to think of it, any proceeds of illegitimate business is Yahoo in disguise. Even all these politicians that steal from the people are not immune from this Yahoo syndrome. Just that these students are not doing their own behind closed doors. But even the EFCC chairman, if properly investigated, will be discovered that in one way or the other he might be involved in this assumed business. Okay, so I want to conclude by saying that Yahoo is a common practice in Nigeria, but it depends on who is caught in the web. Henry from Showlight Onitsha says, what happened in Delta State a few days ago is just one in so many instances. A former defunct SARS personnel that was later redeployed to RRR and currently under recommend. The same mindset of SARS is still at play across the nation. They only rebranded them and changed the name, but those monsters are still out there killing innocent Nigerians. At the end of this trend, nothing will come out, rather he will be redeployed to another command. And This thing applies to this very man, because I learned that he wasn't in this very command initially. He was involved in one incident and he was deployed to another command. Chiluze Prince says, my take on UAE leaving OPEC amid OPEC Plus. I was expecting Tony to enlighten us more about the positive and negative effects of it, especially we here in Nigeria, because it will affect the sponsoring of our budget and also cause us to borrow more money in the future. This one is from Dede Chiadikobi. Says Nigerian. Okay. Nigeria failed in reversing the behavior of our youth when we started celebrating money. Ocha Sibute, a young boy of 17-18 years, will bring back unhealthy wealth to the village, and he's being celebrated. It's very, very bad and sad indeed. Uche UC from Ibuku, thank you for following us and the commendation. Mazimu Rechikwadoromosinachi says, truly, police brutality and harassment have become daily exercise in this country, and I see no one that will put a stop to that. And Michael Chael says, the hike in house rent today is because of these Yahoo boys, and some people are not seeing it as a sin. And he says, God help us.
All right, then, that's so much we can take, and we can't take any more calls. We're rounding off, Tony. You know, NSAS started off with a similar incident in Delta State. And years down the line, Delta State is still one of the states with the most report of police brutality. It's really unfortunate that we really didn't get any actual reforms after hashtag NSAS. But what would your final words be?
Of course, I think for those who are trying to downplay the effects of Yahoo, please do not do so. There is no difference between an armed robber and the Yahoo. They are the same thing. No matter,
one is just an unarmed robber.
The one is just being armed. And let me say this: the Yahoo is obtaining money by falsehood. We know that. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do as a country, the international community will flag you down. It will affect your financial reputation, and many countries will not do business with you. That is why we have Financial Action Task Force. It's an international agency that ensures that every country has a strong control. If you don't do it, you will be blacklisted. So Nigeria is fighting to ensure it's not blacklisted. And remember, this pressure also made us to have NFIU away from EFCC. The truth is, we cannot condone it. We always tell our people we must bring down issue of security. Policing, it should be local. Break it down to the ownership by the people.
Thank you very much. Franklin, your final words?
It's unfortunate that some people always find a way to, so let's say justify certain kind of crime. They will tell you, after all, our leaders have been doing that. No doubt about it. Our leaders have been terrible. We are not contesting that. But let me tell you one thing. You see those small things we do, and we think that they are very small. They are not different from what the leaders are doing. I'll give you just one instance, and then we'll close. Fisher Shoyimbo, some days back, he posted a story about somebody who received money into her account mistakenly. I think about 24-year-old girl. And she confirmed that the money came into her account and they promised to refund. But guess what? In a matter of minutes, she blocked everybody so that she would not refund the money. Then a story was posted with her name. Then family had to come up to make some redemption. Yesterday, he put another story of a 17-year-old boy who also received money into his account erroneously and had refused to return it. They will tell you his street wiseness, his street credibility. See, we can keep on, pointing at leaders all the time for corruption, for crime, and the ones we do, we call it not hardship. Let me ask you, Chisom, are you comfortable? Why are you not stealing?
Why am I not on the street?
Exactly. Who is comfortable in this country apart from those who are working with a multinational company and maybe banks? Who is comfortable? But there are people who, no matter how little they earn, they still believe in hard work. They work. So this issue of people saying people should leave Yahoo Boy, they are going, I don't know. Something is actually wrong with us until
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. This is a Nigeria that we have found ourselves in, and unfortunately, this is something that could have led to a full-blown investigation and possible unraveling and nipping of so many crimes in the bud. I'm also saying this to young persons. Chairman, will be every message they send you, go. Please be sure of what you're being sent to do. Probably, if I had asked more questions, and probably, if it wasn't for some blind loyalty, and probably maybe poverty, this young man wouldn't be 6 feet below as we speak, or maybe he won't be dead. Maybe not yet 6 feet below, probably in a morgue somewhere, but this story would not be out there. And of course, I'm hoping that the police force under Disu would actually buckle up. It is one death too many. The Polity will make a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Up next would be the